Ooh, 6,000.
Wrecked.
Oh, look at that. Oh, there it is. Critical. Take him down, Momo. There
He's
it
out of
is.
here. The final countdown. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan.
And I'm Austin.
We're here to play games.
Badly.
Yeah, welcome back to Xenosaga episode 2. We are just about to finish the post game here. There are 2 bosses remaining, and I think we're going to be able to take care of both of them today in this video, barring any significant problems. Which we're about to find out, because I'm going to go ahead and get into the first one pretty quick here.
Mm-hmm.
So, to go to this one, you need to go to Old Miltia.
Yeah.
And this is, we have moved on to the 2 bosses that were being talked about after Dark Erdekaiser, on Old Miltia and on In the Desert.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping I can remember off the top of my head where to go to get to these. I think...
So we have to go where we fought the mysterious swordsman at the beginning of the game.
Right.
All the way over there at the beginning of the game.
And I think we're gonna go around here. Exit out, and then we're gonna need to proceed, basically. But yeah, this super boss is standing where the mysterious swordsman was. A few notes here. I am probably just gonna roll in with my regular party here. There are some strategies who recommend to use Jin. The reason for that is slash damage does not provoke certain things out of this boss, such as counter boosts. The other thing, I'm actually going to fight one of these guys to verify my boost counter. You want to have boost counter of 3 entering this fight if you can.
Yeah.
I've got no time for wusses like you.
Okay. Power that boost counter up here. There we go.
Eat this.
Get out of here.
So the other reason that
All right, let's call it a day.
Jin versus Kos-mos is because the hit can also trigger that same counter boost.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jin has slash type damage. There are counter boosts that come from pierce or hit, like striking type damage. So Junior and Momo are pierce. Kos-mos is strike. Shion is like ether and beam. Don't bother bringing her unless you want to Erdekaiser Fury. Ziggy is the wrong element, and so is Chaos. So Jin is good to bring if you want to basically get through the break guard. Every time I've beaten this boss, I've not used Jin though. So if we have trouble, we'll switch over to him. But
Yeah.
I don't suspect we're going to have a big problem with this boss, even though he is probably the strongest on foot boss. So
Yeah, I don't know if this is how you got your skills set up, but the recommended equip skills for your party is EP half, status resist 30, combo boost, and rebound. And if you have Ether Burst learned, which we do, have that equipped instead of status resist 30, because it doubles her attack.
All systems clear.
Yeah. Let's look at the skills real quick.
You'll also want to make sure you have Inner Peace, Focus 1, and Focus 2 mastered. Or worth having them mastered, rather.
Right, and I think I'm remembering that I didn't explain something I was going to explain, so let me actually do that. All right, so Focus 2, 15% EP. Focus 1 is another 10%, I think, so that's why I get so much EP back with the stock command. EP half is good for castings of Best Ally. I like ST double because it keeps your buffs going longer, but I'll probably drop it for this one because rebound is pretty good. Counter boost after guard or evasion when using the stock command, so it keeps you a little more defensive. I sort of like ST double a little bit more because I don't like when my buffs wear off, but for this fight, I think it's probably actually worth it. There was some other skill I was going to explain. What were the other ones you said? Inner Peace and...
So Inner Peace is one of the skills. Focus 1 and 2 are the skills that you should have learned.
Yeah.
Equipped is recommended as EP half, status resist 30, combo boost, and rebound.
Yeah, okay. Inner Peace, raise evasion after using the stock command. That one's very useful. I don't remember which skill it was, but yeah. It is good to have all of what Awesome was just listing there. When I'm about to get up to the boss, I'll shift skills around.
Yeah.
Which we're very close.
Yeah. And yeah, so since we're not doing the recommended party, obviously what we're doing is a little different, but still viable, obviously. But if you want to follow like a guide or something, the one that we were using as references, he recommends Jin, Junior, and Momo.
Yep.
I'll take care of support.
Get out of here.
That's nice.
Very
Let's
nice.
call it a day.
You don't even have to use Urtikaiser to get through these.
You do not.
There is an Urtikaiser cheese trap for this, but
Yeah, so
I
this,
imagine it's a lot more difficult to get a hold of for this boss.
this boss has a lot of HP. It's 100,000 HP. He's standing right there. So let's go ahead and go through our skills real quick. Rather, let's set. And yeah, I'll set rebound here. And I do agree with setting Ether Burst for Momo here. So we'll basically do the recommended. I think the other recommended was not damage minus 10. It was something else, right? EP half.
So again, yeah, EP half, status resist 30, combo boost, and rebound.
He does so much damage that I actually agree with this, because damage minus 10 isn't going to do a lot in this fight. So this is basically recommended, other than I'm going to bring Kos-mos instead of Jin. However, I will set Jin up because we can literally just swap to him if we start having severe problems. So we'll set him up this way just to have him available. If there are big problems, I'll just swap in Jin and we'll continue, so that we are prepared.
Flower.
Oh, let me actually save real quick,
Good idea.
since we are here, because this boss is pretty dangerous. I don't know if this one is more dangerous than Phobos Rigas is. Maybe.
Depends on what you struggle with, I think.
Phobos Rigas just has that ability to boost like 20 times in a row, whereas this boss is more... I don't know, you'll see here.
Yeah,
there are
he's
a lot
weak.
of mechanics. Mhm.
Specifically, he's weak to Ice Pierce and Hit.
Yes.
So, he's got a couple unique
All
mechanics.
right,
Now,
it's time
remind
for
me,
the main event.
I think we talked about this a little bit, but this boss is a bit like a crossover, is that correct? From another Monolith game?
That's correct. This boss is a crossover from Bait and Kaitos,
Mystic powers.
which is, I believe, one that we have in the running for a game that we are going to play on this channel. So definitely, if you want to see that, definitely let us know. But yeah, this is a crossover boss. I'm actually going to use the move command to set Kos-mos behind him. And then she actually needs to start stocking. I guess I didn't EP half her correctly. Anyway, but yeah, he's a crossover boss. Ooh.
Ether drive.
And there is a lot of movement tech in this fight. You're gonna need to be able to move freely. That is one of the more important things to be able to do.
Yeah, he's got an ability that can do like 3,500 damage,
Yeah.
which will kill any one of your characters. But if you can, but it's a move that you can't avoid. So if you
Right.
avoid it, you don't take the damage.
So this is how he builds up. He does Aqua Regia. He shows where he's going. So what we need to do is move. It's gonna put Momo here. Boom. Does nothing. But if you don't move, that would have literally killed her, which is why it is a very good idea to have Best Ally running in this fight. in case for some reason you're not able to move. Ouch.
That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, one of the problems here is I have her facing the wrong way, so let's turn her around real quick.
Why is she facing the wrong way? Is that a button you selected?
No,
just...
No, it's because she moved. She was facing that way, and she continues to face that way until you attack. I think where you should be able to see his health now. He has 99, 999.
Ether drive.
We've done a little bit of damage here, but... Alright, and then another thing I'm going to do, because we haven't really used these, I'm going to use a Boost Max. And then I'm going to use the second one.
And what does Boost Max do again?
Boost Max adds, for the encounter, I believe, the 1 to the boost gauge potential. So if I go in here and I use Boost 1, it'll go up to 4.
Oh, nice.
And then I can go up to 5. 5 is the maximum. So we've been saving these. If for whatever reason they wear off or something, we can use more, because I have several of them.
So the bottom bar, is that the enemy's boost gauge then?
That's
I
right.
don't think I've noticed that.
Yep.
At all this entire time.
Yep. That is the enemy boost gauge.
Hi, my name's Austin. I'm really unobservant.
We'll do the steals here. Emax 300 and auto recover. It's pretty standard steal for the in-game super bosses, so we've got the auto recover. I'll steal the Emax as well. The other boss we're going to be fighting today has the same steals, but I'm probably just going to completely ignore those because it is the final encounter. So,
right. And if you're still trying to pay off Matthew's debt at this point for some reason, definitely steal those items, because that's easily together another million off of Matthew's debt.
Yep. So that is a very, very good thing to do. If you, and now we need to move Junior. We're gonna put him over here. All right. Getting really close to being able to just unleash here. So yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna do attacker. And I did confirm Ether Burst and Ether Spear, the spell, do stack.
Nice.
Mystic powers.
I confirmed that
That means
using...
Momo's about to do a ton of damage.
Yeah, I confirmed that using Urtikaiser Fury. So... If you want to maximize your damage, if you're having trouble killing enemies, just stack both of those on Shion. Ow. Alright, and we need ice.
Man, again. I get the idea, but the amount of setup you have to go into to fight these bosses is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's obnoxious. Yeah.
Mystic powers.
This is going to be the last fight where I have to do this, but for this boss, I actually understand. There's Baten Kaitos, the move that gives away where he's from, basically. Yeah, for this boss, I don't mind the setup. Alright, so I'm actually gonna use Medica All.
Mystic powers. Grant me a miracle.
Alright, BCBC. Okay, yeah. He got his break block back up, unfortunately, so... Yeah, we're gonna have to redo that. That's alright. Alright. That was unfortunate, but we will bounce back from it.
Mystic powers. Grant me a miracle.
Only one thing I could do... Let's go ahead and Medica. So, he has his Furious and relaxes his defense, so he's about to hit pretty hard thing. But as you can tell, I was able to start this. by attacking from behind.
Yes.
Who was he focusing on there?
Momo, I think.
All right. I was trying to talk at the same time. Anyway, yeah, he, if it's not Momo, we'll just deal with it in a second, but, basically, if you can attack from behind, nope, it was Junior, so we're gonna have to redo Best Ally, it's fine.
Good.
So we'll get him back up, and recast Best Ally on him. Unfortunately, we can't do on Momo, because she's not running EP half.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah, so basically where he is now, and we're gonna have to recast buffs. I just don't. With the amount of setup, they really should have made these buffs not wear off in like 5 seconds, honestly.
Yeah.
Mystic powers.
3 turns, is that right?
I think so.
By the time you're done setting up all your other buffs, the first buffs are worn off.
Correct. Alright, so...
Mystic powers. Grant me a miracle.
Rough.
Yeah, it is why I run ST double a lot, because it just bugs the hell out of me when they wear off. But it is possible to get some counter boosts out of this, which would be good. Alright, again. CBC.
Yeah. So the goal is to attack him from behind to help break his break zone shield.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ether drive.
Yeah. So another thing worth noting, since we're still working on this setup, is that you might be wondering why it was Junior this time.
Yep.
Anyway, you might be wondering why we chose a party that would up enemies instead of down. In this particular instance, downed enemies can still counter boost. Up enemies cannot.
Right. And he really likes to counter boost, so...
Right. I mean, which we saw just when you were trying to set this up, so...
Yep.
Ether drive.
Alright. Hopefully this will work.
Yeah. There we go. He grimaces at your striking attack. Yeah, now he's in the air, he should be free of the reduction.
Yeah, you can absolutely wreck him. Ideally, Momo would be able to do back hits here as well, but as you can see, plenty of damage.
It's so much. Was that like 8 hits there?
Yeah,
9?
her ice sword wore off in the middle of that, so her last hit wasn't great, but still. Yeah, now he's mad because I did like over half his health bar.
Good gracious.
I'm sorry.
And this is why Best Ally is always up and running.
Yeah, I skipped it to do the setup, so we're gonna have to res her, but that's alright. We'll take a few turns to do some support stuff, but I do believe we have him down to about 40k. Yeah, 42.
Yep.
So, pretty nice.
Yeah, another round of that, and he'll be down.
Yeah, this is one of the... I'm actually gonna use a... Let's use a Revive DX here.
Take this.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I like this party is not only do I like Kos-mos, but she does increase damage, unlike Jin. And so, you know, it is not great that he can counter boost her like crazy, but let's move. Nope, it was on her. I should pay attention to where he's casting things. All right.
Sorry.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention either, so that's on me as well. Got 2 sets of eyes, and both of us are just not paying attention.
Okay, so best ally on her. So this stops. Good. Massing his Baal.
Yeah.
Bleh.
So once you get him below 70k, I don't know if we'll see it. I'm assuming we will. But if we don't, he does gain access to one of his abilities called Baal's Curse.
Yep.
Which can seal move command, which will keep you from being able to get away from Aqua Regia, which is that bile spew thing he's doing.
He, yeah. He probably will do it at some point.
Nice.
Baited.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. If he does that, use Annihilation on him. This move right here. And there is a message that will come up. I'm explaining it in case we don't see it. It will say, until the time of Annihilation, no one can move. All that means is use Annihilation, and you'll dispel his curse. So.
Ether drive.
Yeah, and he'll also start actually taking full advantage of his boost gauge as well, so that's worth keeping note of.
Oh yeah. Actually, speaking of, we should have started using boost here, so let's just do that. If I need to recast those buffs, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Let's actually top her off.
Ether drive.
Yeah, keep an eye out for, I think it's H bind, which is another similar
Right there, yep.
issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll want to remove that too, because again, that's one of those things where you can't move your character if they're bound.
Yeah, he's always trying to basically allow Aqua Regia to strike, which we've seen several times. Like, pretty much the only one that won't die is Ziggy, and do not bring Ziggy into this fight, because fire damage is ineffective, and you don't want to be downing him, because he can counter boost.
Right.
So, pretty much anybody you want to bring in this fight will die to Aqua Regia. Whoops. Boost one. Let's boost fully powered up here.
Yeah. And if you really want to be like min-maxer on this, you can also try to start the airing of Baal here on the boost slot. ESL slot or whatever.
That's true.
If you happen to do that, it'll give you a good boost gauge. But we're at 5 right now, so I think we're fine.
Okay, well, Momo's about to die, so we're gonna have to fix that here in a second. So what he did was he targeted and then he boosted. So I can't boost unless I counter boost or something. We're just gonna play it out. That is one of the rather mean things he will do occasionally.
At least you had Best Ally active.
Yep.
Like, I know that takes up one of our turns, but...
No, I mean, yeah, really, you just need to be able to get into a good position with him, and so sometimes that means doing support until you can... It is one of the reasons it's good to have such a high boost gauge here. Because literally, I'm just going to boost to ensure he doesn't do that again. There we go. Alright. I don't think I can... Yeah, so let's just start... He does have attacker, but I'm concerned that'll wear off, but we'll fix it if we need to.
Ether drive.
Love when he misses. When he gets really low on health, which we might be skipping, he will target 3 different spaces with Aqua Regia. So you're going to need to pay attention to what all 3 of them are and move your party into none of those spaces. So, Just something to watch out for, basically.
Yeah.
He also can rotate his break zone, so definitely watch for that. Ow, that did a lot of damage.
Has he rotated it at this point?
He has not.
Okay.
Ether Drive.
Oh, it's this called Cycle of Destruction. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that doesn't happen until he reaches below 40,000 HP.
Yep.
So we may not see that one either, depending on if we can get this rotation off.
Alright. So attacker. Let's go.
How dare he grimace at your piercing attack?
Indeed.
Yeah. Charging.
Man, that boost slot is so good.
Yup.
Bye-bye.
Be great if it falls on Momo for critical.
That would be nice.
Here you go. Bullseye.
Ooh, 6,000.
Wrecked.
Oh, look at that. Oh, there it is. Critical. Take him down, Momo. There
He's
it
out of
is.
here. That's Baal Zebul, probably the toughest super boss. You can tell, like, I didn't even get a boost there as well to the points, and that's quite a lot of points. And his abilities, like, especially if you are a little bit lower on damage, it can be tough to get off adequate damage to skip his phases. So,
Right.
you know, good to keep an eye on. All right, now we need to set up for the other super boss here. So that went very quickly.
It went very well.
Indeed.
Much better than Phobos Regus.
Yeah, Phobos Regus has just the ability to boost as much as he does, makes him really tough.
Yeah, I thought for sure we were going to wipe at the end of that last fight with Rhythm.
Yeah.
But you came through like a champ.
Like a boss.
Like a boss.
Alright, so we're back in the Armis Stronghold again for like the millionth time, but we're going back to the desert. Because the final boss, not the final boss, but the last super boss that we haven't killed yet is here. And like I said, I'm probably going to just skip because he has a rare steel and a common steel, but you're in ES units, which means you need to... There's no pocket rare, you just need to psycho pocket a bunch. And that's annoying, and I don't need it at this point, so... I'm probably just going to fight him normally, but it is the same steals, as always, for these bosses. It is the auto recover and the Emax 300, so... Those are nice to get. If you need them for Matthew's debt, definitely steal them. Shouldn't be a big deal. I'm probably just gonna not bother, but basically there are sections of this fight where you can very easily get this off. So I will point them out when we get there. And it's going to be this party. It's going to be Asher and Zebulon against this boss. Dina is not recommended because you just can't do good damage with Dina in this fight.
Hmm.
Which is unfortunate, because I like Dina a lot. And there are some who recommend to bring Dina in near the beginning and then switch out for Asher. I don't see the need to do that, personally. I think it's fine. We will be changing our equipment up, so I'll be going over that once we get to the boss itself. And this boss is one of my favorites in this game. I find it really cool and very strange. Which if you know my preferences, you've been watching the channel, or Austin knows this, if things are really weird, I enjoy them, generally speaking, so...
The weirder, the better.
In general, it depends on the type, but yeah, this is a type of weird that I quite like.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, just strategy-wise. The way to deal with this boss is very interesting.
And when we were talking about this, you said this is probably your favorite super boss, right?
In this game, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant, in this game specifically.
Yep. Let me see.
But it is worthwhile clarification, so...
Yeah. Alright, I can't... Actually... I don't think I put EP half on Momo, did I?
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah. So hang on a second. Let me actually go do that. We got a little bit of time. So I'm gonna pop out, which means we're gonna have to walk through Ormus again, but I forgot we need to. And it's one of the things that's a little frustrating about this interface is you can't really mess with your skills when you're in ES units. You need to have equipped the skills you want, and not all of them affect what you're doing. But I think for this boss, I definitely want to have the full setup here because this is a very tight encounter. So let me go take care of that real quick. Because we need different on-foot skills equipped than we did for Baal Zebul, so.
Yup. Seems like that'd be something, an easy fix, you know, like just have a menu item that's specifically for your party and one for your ES units.
Or allow the status menu to affect the party members as well. All right, so
right.
The ones that matter here are, and I actually, they're once again recommending Ziggy as the co-pilot in Zebulon. I'm used to coming into this with Shion as the co-pilot for Zebulon, so I may just do that. But the equipped skills that matter are the ones for Junior and for Momo. So as always, combo boost for Junior, both status resist and rebound. So we'll go ahead and status resist 20 here. That one's not as big of a deal, but EP half literally does nothing for Asher. And then for Momo, rebound, combo boost, EP regen, EP half.
Right. You got EP half on her.
It's because of Ether Burst. That's why.
Oh, I see.
Ether Burst doubles. I actually like. So EP regen. Let's look at this real quick. This might be good actually. Yeah, EP +2. That is going to be very good for this setup. So, yeah, run rebound, EP regen, EP half, combo boost. You don't need a lot of ether output from Momo in this fight, and then don't bother with anything about EP on Junior. So. That was a worthwhile change that we just made. It wasn't a lot, but it was worth doing for sure for dealing with this encounter. So yeah, then once again, I'm gonna go back through Ormus. But while I'm doing this, what'd you think of the super bosses so far, Austin, Phobos Rigas, and Baal Zebul?
So.
Or
super
the bosses
are always a
general.
little strange in general for me, because on the one hand, I'm not one to engage in a lot of post-game stuff typically, because usually when I'm playing a game, most of the time it's there for the narrative, and I start to lose interest after that. There are a few games that will grab my attention and I'll hold on to me for post-game stuff. Especially if it can unlock like a true ending or something like that. So Sea of Stars is a prime example where you beat the game, you do a couple of post-game things, and then you can rebeat it, quote unquote. Yeah. But it's a whole different experience, right? So I like those types of things, and the gameplay has to be compelling enough to make me not mind doing post-game stuff. But in general, super bosses included, I tend to like to do those things before I beat the game.
Sure.
So, you know, being in this space where it's like, hey, there's these enemies around that you can really bash your head against. I have mixed feelings about super bosses because of my own preferences. I think they're awesome to add to games, but I don't get like the excitement out of them as like some other people might.
Like me.
Right. And I say all that, but then I think of like bosses from like a DLC from like Orphan of Kos, right, in Bloodborne, which to this day still sits with me, which tells you just how challenging of a boss that really was.
Yeah, that boss is serious business for sure.
Right, but if I remember correctly, he's not required to beat the DLC, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Orphan of Kos is the final boss of the DLC.
Oh, is he? Okay, I thought there was something else that we did that was okay.
Might have been Lawrence. Lawrence is optional.
Okay. But anyway, so like, so it's not a great example for a super boss then if he's the final boss of the DLC. But he's still a really tough boss, so I understand the appeal of the challenge, I guess is what I'm getting at. So all of that put aside, as far as these bosses go, I think they've been interesting. I don't really like reskinned enemies for unique bosses.
Sure.
So like Phobos Regus was cool. He hit hard, but he was just a harder version of a boss we'd already fought. And to me, that's not interesting.
Harder than Phobos Regus, yeah.
I liked the crossover boss. I think he was cool. And some crossover stuff is done well and some isn't. It depends on how they play it. Because this is super boss post-game stuff, you can be like, this is just, we inserted this in here for fun.
Right.
There are some places that will insert super bosses and they try to make it like a narrative canon event, and I'm just like, but it's a crossover. How did this become a canon event? I don't understand. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, he's weird looking.
Yep. So this boss is probably my favorite post-game, tied with Dark Urtikaiser because of how weird it is. So let's equip up here and we'll get into it.
I have really enjoyed Urtikaiser. I liked Urtikaiser, and I think it's because it had a compelling narrative to go with it, right? So I think maybe that's part of what makes super bosses appealing to me, right? So the Persona 3 super boss, I actually really liked that one because there was a kind of a storyline that tied into it,
right?
Loosely. And so when you get there, you're like, oh, of course this is what this is. Without going to spoilers, if you haven't seen it or don't know what the super boss is, just go watch our Persona videos. And if you're still not wanting to watch those because it's long for some reason, just find the singular Persona video that has like 400 views. That's the one.
Yeah, it was definitely our most popular Persona 3 video, which I can see why. You know, it's a good super boss.
Yeah, it is. It took us, I think, 2, maybe 3 attempts to get it cleared.
Yeah.
So anyway, so favorite boss overall in this game so far, which is probably going to change just based off the appearance of this one alone, is probably Dark Urtikaiser.
Yeah.
It's just such a, it's so funny. You got to deal with the Dark Professor, so everything builds up to it is hilarious. And like I partially jokingly talked about how the most cohesive narrative we've dealt with so far between Xenosaga 1 and 2 has been the Dark Professor. Yeah. And that's a little sad, but also kind of funny.
Yeah, indeed.
So you get to him, you're just like, yes, Dark Professor, let's go, you know.
Let's go. Yeah, indeed.
And these other bosses that we've dealt with, some of them are cool. I liked Arugula. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The Inquisitor that's at the end of
Orgula.
Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Orgula's cool. You know, I'm a big fan of this one, Dark Urtikaiser. I liked Mad Skelter, even though he's super annoying to fight. It's a very interesting idea.
Yeah. This creature looks like something from Nier, honestly.
It does. This is Mikumari. Our name is Mikumari. Worship us and sing our praises. Creeping in the dark.
Very interesting.
So as you can tell, quite a lot of damage.
That was a ton of damage.
Yes. Move behind. I actually meant to heal. We'll see how this goes.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ouchies.
Yeah, so I'm actually... I think I can do this. Yeah, I'll actually double Medica to this.
Wow.
Well, that might be a wipe.
And I think the other part is
That's
that
a shame.
super bosses, I probably don't have, since this is possibly a wipe.
It is. This is a wipe.
Okay.
I can't
Since
beat
I don't
this
have
boss this way. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So, because I don't have experience with just trying to take on a super boss with no assistance from the front end, right? Because, like, even with Persona 3, I'd never done it before, but you helped me define what our party should be for that so that we could handle it. And it was still challenging, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can have everything set up and still not mechanically perform it right, and it destroy you, as is evidenced here.
Yeah,
but
I know what my mistake was there. Go ahead.
I think main super bosses, like, their appeal is learning to do it on a first basis. Like, never seen it before. I'm just gonna try it and see what happens, and kind of feeling out those aspects. Like, somebody takes the time and literally just goes, okay, this is how I want to do power. Oh, I can't do that because it does these things to counter this rotation I've had since the beginning of the game because it's so good. It's designed specifically to counteract what you've been used to doing. I know you've been going through SMT5, you know, on your personal time, and like there are bosses in that require a specific rotation of like buffs and counter movements and certain types of stats associated with the demons that you have in your party. Like, you have to have all that in place or it won't work.
Right.
And so the challenge of getting that all set up is just as much the super boss as the actual fight with the boss.
Right.
So yeah. It's one of the, I don't know. It's just an interesting like limbo space for me when it comes to super bosses. I think they're cool. I like the idea. I'm not always excited to take them on myself.
Mm.
Clear Obscure's got one that I haven't touched, but I hear it's a really cool boss.
Yeah. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, so what happened there, and I'll address what you were talking about, but yeah, what happened there was Asher went down. You really have to keep him up if you are going to successfully, because there was no way I was going to. You saw it took me a minute for Zebulon to go down. And there is a coherent strategy to this boss. It looks to be insurmountable at first, but it's not.
Right.
But yeah, basically we're just gonna make sure that Asher is healed. That is why we have a healing type thing on Asher. I'm gonna actually even up Zebulon here, but that is why I have a charge recover on Asher so that he can heal while stocking.
That is going to still do a lot of damage.
Yes.
Does it just do a percentage of damage, that particular move?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and then yeah, we'll stock. I will move Asher behind as soon as I have an opportunity here.
Ooh. Well,
Counter
you know,
boost.
you're already doing better than we were.
Yep.
A second ago.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Get back.
So, is Zebulon's main role in this fight to keep Asher alive?
Zebulon is support in this fight. Yes. It is. Zebulon also has another role in this fight. Okay, here we go. Pure. So this goes between creeping mode and pure mode. So in pure mode, and I'm just gonna make absolutely sure I'm doing this right. What you need to do is do a down ether on it, because it will trigger some things, but you can also begin laying down Wings of Light, which will be the main source of damage. We loathe you blue things. All right. So it doesn't really matter which one you pick. I just kind of go with down dex. Do not use a break ether on it. Use down. Rebirth. Heal all. So it will heal you.
Oh, weird.
We are alive.
What an interesting mechanic that it would do that.
Yep. So when it's starting to change into creeping mode, just make sure you're topped up. We are alive. I'm actually gonna throw Starlight Arrow here. A lot of, like, there's recommendation to do Power Kick. Starlight Arrow is fine. I like it better against this boss.
So it vacillates between creeping and pure.
Correct. Yeah, it does quite a lot of damage in this mode.
Yeah, it looks like it's 2 to 3 turns. Ooh, nice evasion.
Yep.
Suck it.
Yep. Okay, and I think we should be able to, let's see how this goes. You will want to keep the damage going. Is our good child. Yeah, so I'm not using Emax 300 on this boss because it's pointless. You want to use single target hits, and Wings of Light just does so much damage. Yeah, critical. Yeah, once you get into a rhythm with this fight, it's not too bad. And we'll just use down force this time, I guess. Doesn't matter which down you use.
It looks like between its rotations, if you're not careful, the boss will actually upgrade power as well. So this is not... You can't just prolong the battle. You're gonna have to, like, really keep the damage up.
Yep. Yeah, so keep the pain coming. I'm saving boost in case I need it. So I don't recommend boosting like crazy in this fight. Just keep it going, but make sure you continue laying down Wings of Light. This boss has 200,000 HP.
Yeah.
So...
I'm seeing...
Yeah.
I'm seeing here also that, like, when it's in pure mode, don't use break ethers on it, even though it counts as a mech, because it will end pure mode immediately.
Yes, exactly.
And we don't want to do that. I'm sure you mentioned it, but I'm just trying to make sure I get everything in here.
Yeah, cover it again. Do not use break ethers when it's in pure mode. You'll send it back to creeping mode. As you can tell, creeping mode, you take a lot of damage in creeping mode.
Right, so down ethers only.
Yep. Actually gonna fix its status real quick.
Except for Holy Water, you cannot predict which of the two healing moves it will do.
That's true.
Can't boost, though, so that's nice.
Yeah. Alright.
It's recommended that while in pure mode, have Zebulon cast Quick on itself to get more turns.
Oh, yeah. Quick is good, yeah.
Or in case you've used any boost, cast Boost 1 to refill the gauge.
Yeah, definitely do your down move first so you can get the healing in, because as you can tell, Zebulon was really close to dying there, so definitely get Rebirth or whatever it's going to cast for heals on you, which is nice. I might do that twice, actually, because Zebulon's still a little low. Yeah, parameters improved. Let's actually do quick. I think I can go again. No, let's just boost it. We'll recover that boost, but good to keep those around in case you need them. I'm actually going to go ahead and do... I shouldn't have gone that way, but yeah, sure. There it is. Healing Waters.
I'm really curious where this design comes from. Like, what inspired both the mech aspect of it and this clearly very I don't know. It feels, I could be wrong about this, but it feels a little Shinto.
Yes.
In its design.
Yes.
And I'm just kind of a little curious where all that stems from the person who designed it. Like, what was the thought process behind that?
So, yeah, Mikumari, I believe, does have some meaning in Shinto. It's related to water, which is why a lot of the... And we talked a little bit, actually, recently in our last Zelda Skyward Sword episode about sacred water in Shinto.
Yeah.
So I believe Mikumari has something to do with that. It also has Mari in it, which is a little bit like Mary. Which is an interesting little name implication. I don't remember what Miku by itself means, though, so... let's see here. Sure.
So Mikumari, a goddess kami of water,
yeah, there you go.
And safe childbirth.
Mm-hmm.
Can also mean water distribution, like the word itself.
Yep. There we go.
What the breakdown of that would be.
Some boost back.
Alright, so Shinto Wiki. How about that? Look at that.
Yeah! Alright, creeping mode. I'm actually going to stock this whole time to continue guarding, and then we're going to unleash in the next pure mode here.
Yeah, so the name of the goddess, Mikumari, is the full name is like Mikumari no Kami, right?
Mm-hmm.
Worshipped at Uda Mikumari Shrine and the Yoshino Mikumari Shrine. Due to a pun, she's associated with pregnancy and childbirth? Now that's interesting.
Yeah, etymology can be very interesting.
Yeah, the etymology translates water distribution, so I'm not sure how that breakdown route over it would be. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Oof. A lot of damage.
So the name Kumari derives from the term Kubari, meaning distribution. So I think that's where that kind of comes from.
Reborn pure.
Often enshrined at water sources and distribution points such as springs and river junctions. Okay.
I think I need to refresh quick here, so I'll do that.
It's the offspring of Yakitsuhiko. Water-related deities often worshipped for rain-making rites and associated with rice field deities, or when enshrined at water sources.
I've offended Mikumari.
How dare you? With Yamano Kami. Later, the term Mikumari was interpreted as Mikomori, leading to their veneration as guardians of children and as deities of childbearing and safe childbirth. Lots of really interesting information there. If somebody knows more about the Shinto Mikumari, please feel free to let us know in the comments. I know you could probably put a whole thesis there and have a conversation, so do that if you want, but you know, that's a lot of work. A TLDR is also fine.
Yes, indeed.
So I find this kind of stuff always interesting, like what leads to the influences, right? And to talk to your point with how we were talking about it with Skyward Sword recently, which I think that episode will come out after this one.
Okay. Yeah. So there's if you are watching both of those series, you'll see a little bit more about some of those topics.
Right. Yeah. So without going into too much detail, just in case there's spoilers ahead.
Ooh.
There's a dungeon that we just got through in the last recording that seems to be highly influenced by a Buddhist parable specifically. And before I misspeak, I want to say what it is correctly.
Counter boost. Yeah, the counter boosts are actually pretty useful here. we're able to get some of that so that we can, you know, continue to stay in a defensive mode while it's in creeping mode, because as you can see, has a lot of pretty hard-hitting moves. Really, the fire one is probably the worst one.
Yeah, sure.
It's also why I tend to bring Xion in Zebulon, is because I really don't spend a lot of time doing the special attack in Zebulon because it's so tasked with doing support.
Right.
And I like Starlight Arrow a little bit more.
It's a cool ability. I'd like to see the Xion Kos-mos double skill at some point too.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't done that one yet. Okay.
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
we got it like as like the last thing we got, and
yep.
But yeah, the temple I'm talking about seems to be highly inspired by the Parable of the Spider's Thread. I'm calling it a parable. It's a short story, but it's like heavily influenced and laced with Buddhism. It's about the Buddha and a person he observes in hell. So it's a really interesting story. When that video comes out, check it out. You'll hear a little bit more details about it, or go read the Spider's Thread. It's accessible.
Indeed. Changing into creeping mode. We load you blue things.
That's such an interesting thing to say.
Uh-huh. It does attack Asher a good bit, so I don't know if that's a way of like explaining that that's what it's doing, but yeah. We are getting there though. We are bringing the health down here. So, it is
associated with water.
It is important to keep Asher in guard during creeping mode, because generally Asher will take the most aggro.
It's very spidery. You know, this kind of makes me think of like a mechanized version of the grafted scions a little bit too.
Sure. The Elden Ring enemy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, quick.
I didn't realize that the face was changing depending on what mode it's in.
Yeah, the mask changes on the front there. Depending on what it's doing.
Cool.
Oh, you got status. I don't like that. It's charged down. Okay.
It's still a lot of damage.
Yep.
Our children, we shall grant you some life back. So it's almost like it's got two personalities that it's vacillating between.
Right. Yeah, it's like a weird split personality, giant mech goddess something.
It's statused. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did down P defense.
Oh, okay.
All right, no, we don't want that. We want. Oh my god. I get it. Okay, so we're gonna do down dex. Cross our fingers. It'll heal Asher here. Good.
But it switched to creeping mode, didn't it?
No, it's changing into creeping mode.
Oh,
There it is.
Oh, I see.
So it warns you a turn before it does that.
Gotcha.
We'll go ahead and top it off. Just because of the amount of damage coming off of this boss. I like that evasion, though. That's nice.
Yeah. And you said level 60 is the ideal level range for this fight?
So, I've seen this done around 50-ish. It is going to be harder if you do that. But, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it done that way.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's make sure quick is good. So this is one of the scenarios where EP regen is pretty good, because most of the EP moves when you're in an ES unit are just not that big of a deal as far as cost goes. So EP half and EP regen together really help offset some things.
Yeah, especially
Ouch.
since you're casting healing skills constantly.
Yep. Yeah, it is sort of disappointing that the Emax 300 really isn't useful in this fight, but it kind of just is what it is. You want to be able to just use your 200 EC from this. So, you know, I am a little let down by the mech combat in this game. It's not bad, but it's not great. Up it up again.
I feel like mech combat faces some unique challenges in any game that it's a part of.
Like what?
Well, it depends on how like granular people want to get with it. So like if you take Armor Core, for instance, right?
Yeah.
That game completely revolves around mech combat. And obviously, since that's the entire point of the game, they're going to fine-tune it and do everything they can to make sure it's a fun experience, right?
Right.
But a lot of times when I see mech combat stuff, you're accounting for like the types of weapons, the power drain, the engine type, the like armors you can equip and how they look and how they work. Do they slow you down? Do you speed up? And like, you don't need all that in this game, obviously. That would be too much, I feel like, at least. It's a little too granular when I'm also trying to account for party and their equipment and everything else.
Sure.
So, you know, dedicated versus secondary.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But the way Xenogears handles their gear combat is still quite a bit different than in this one.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that like fundamentally the way they operate is different too, like the battle system and everything.
That's gonna hurt.
And I think what it boils down to is that
Not too bad, actually.
the mech combat in this game specifically suffers from the same problem the on-foot combat does, which is why would I ever do normal attacks when I can do all these specials that do way more damage? Or
That is true. That is very
like
true.
half the cost or time. So, you know, I could do an attack, or I could take 2 turns charging and do this other attack that does 4 times the amount of damage.
Right.
Now, on foot's is a little different, right? Because that's about comboing it up constantly, but it's the same basic concept.
Yes.
Why would I just do a regular rotation of attacks like you would, say, in Xenogears, where you just, there's some mobs, I'm going to punch them and they die. You know, like...
Sure.
It just goes back to that spongy and mismatch skill versus standard attack ratio.
So I wanted to circle back, now that we're kind of in a rhythm here, to the super boss discussion. So you had mentioned Shin Megami Tensei 5. I've been playing Vengeance, which has a number of super bosses in it and a number of different specific setups. So I think about it in terms of like, what do you want to accomplish with your super boss? Do you want the player to be hitting the boss for like 10 minutes between every attack, you know, like, or do you want them to be hitting the boss for like 2 hours? And if you do want the encounter to be very, very long, how are you going to keep it interesting in the meantime?
Right.
I think this boss is very interesting to me because the whole time I'm just like, when the hell is this thing going on about? It's going on about something, but I have no clue what it is. Why does a down attack cause it to heal me in pure mode? What exactly is going on here, you know?
Right.
It's very intriguing. It's beyond just you're in a fight, smacking the hell out of something. You know, there's something going on that is occupying kind of your mind a little bit. We are not some toy. And do this again, get more heals. And I think the interesting thing about Megaton super bosses, actually my favorite is the super boss in Digital Devil Saga 2. That's my favorite super boss to this day, and I have not wavered from that since I fought that boss for the first time, because it just kind of blew me away with the way that it worked. I thought it was awesome. But the reason for that is I had to keep track of so much stuff when doing that boss. And it made it a very engaging experience. Even though it took me an hour to kill this boss, right? That sounds very annoying, but it isn't, because it has a rhythm to it. It has almost a story to the encounter. You know, and the recent Vengeance super bosses, like, one of them is a repeat of... Actually, both of the super bosses I've fought so far are repeats of super bosses from Digital Devil Saga and Digital Devil Saga 2. So if you know those games, you know who I'm talking about. And they very much are successors to those super bosses in certain ways, but there have also been mechanical changes done to basically account for the way these sorts of games are nowadays, which is very, very interesting. But I think they did a good job with making them engaging, interesting encounters. Now, you're going to get your face wrecked the first time you go into these fights because they are so difficult. And that's just sort of something you have to accept in these sorts of games, whereas Xenosaga is very different in that respect. It is much less of a, you come to this game for a punishing experience. You come to it for a very, very tactical type of combat.
Right.
Not that there hasn't been any sort of tactical stuff that you need to deal with in any encounter at Xenosaga. There very much has been, but it's a different kind. You're not hitting multiple you are hitting weaknesses, but weakness hitting is only important in that it does damage, whereas weakness hitting in Megaton and Persona to a lesser extent is about your turn economy. How much control do you have over the encounter?
Right.
Your encounter control doesn't really change if you're hitting weaknesses, other than... Okay, and this is the final level of Mikumari's parameters, so this is the final boost. The final countdown. Other than you need to hit the weaknesses to do sufficient damage for the encounter not to last, like, 3 hours.
Oh, man. Hear us, we are God.
Oof. All right.
Oh, you know what? This makes me think a little bit, just the tiniest bit, in vibe, specifically.
Our children, we have cleansed you of our sins, of your sins.
Yep.
There we go.
Of the Gun Goddess and Sea of Stars.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Just a tiny bit, like vibe-wise, right? Because it's a mech thing. It's
max 300.
deific in some ways.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. That does it.
And without further aplomb, that's it.
Yep, that is the final post-game boss. So yeah, there is no other content in Xenosaga Episode 2. You can go back into the Omega system and fight the final boss again. You can fight the final boss a bunch of times and get more Awakening 4s to pay off Matthew's debt if you haven't done that yet. You can also sell, I think we have a ridiculous amount of these Emax 300s at this point. Let me see how many we have, actually. Because I have
Emax 300s and auto recoveries.
Yep. Yeah, which you could have 3. I think Zebulon has one, so you could have 4. And you could have 6 Emax 300s, because I've taken every other opportunity to steal from the boss there. So... yeah, and this, you know, you've seen, it is possible to lose the encounter if if Asher goes down pretty quickly, because it does so much damage to you, but, yeah, it's not too bad if you keep control of the encounter, which is, again, kind of what I was talking about. Like, Phobos Regas was almost killing the party because I was losing control. I was just doing so many boosts there, but it's not as formalized of a system in Xenosaga, and that's not to say that it is an inferior game mechanically because of that. I think the goal of the battle system was just different. Now, there are other reasons why I think there are legitimate criticisms of this combat system. One of them is just how long a regular encounter actually takes. It takes a long time to clear a regular encounter. There we go. Back to the title screen. But But yeah, I think super bosses are interesting. I think Dark Urtikaiser has to be my favorite one as far as post-game goes, as far as the optional encounters that are powerful. I do think Phobos Rigus, Baal Zebul, and Mikumari are the super bosses of this game, if you can apply that term to any of them. Dark Urtikaiser is difficult, but not really super boss level. You need to know what you're doing to deal with it and everything, but it's more of an extended, like, all right, now it's the professor's story type thing.
Right. Maybe secret bosses is the better way to put it sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's part of what I get at is that sometimes I see these descriptors and they're titled super boss because that's what's been used in other games that have done something similar, and those bosses are genuinely challenging.
Yep.
And obviously here with this last one, it is a challenging fight, and so is Baal Zebul for its own reasons. So they can be classified as a super boss, but there are certain games where I've come across where it's really not any more difficult than other stuff you've encountered in the game. And it could be that just because of how, like, you and I play, we tend to be as overpowered as we can be because we don't want to deal with the struggle to some degree.
That may be why you do that. I do that because I want to feel extremely powerful in an encounter.
Right. Well, that's kind of
satisfying, right?
It is. It's kind of two parts of the same coin for me, because I do want to feel powerful too. But sometimes it's, this boss is really hard, but if I'm 20 levels higher, I'm fine.
Yeah. In some games, levels mean less than they do in others. A lot of turn-based RPGs, levels are going to mean a lot for the most part. Sort of depends, but yeah.
Right. So all that to say is that some of those other bosses aren't necessarily like super hard, but they will be extra narratively important or like crossover stuff or whatever. And so it's a fun like secret boss, but not necessarily a super boss. Yeah. It depends on how you define it, I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, it depends on your definition. So as far as a super boss in the wider turn-based RPG definition, I don't think this game has one. Because honestly, like, Baal Zebul might be the closest because of the amount of mechanics, but as you saw, I kind of just steamrolled him with my level 99 party. Now, he was still threatening, but does that make a super boss? To me, no. To me, it is an encounter that is on a completely different level than a hard boss, right? So like Baal, if he was encountered maybe a little less powerful in the main storyline or something like that, but with similar mechanics, I wouldn't think to term him a super boss. So the mechanics to me make a super boss. That's, when I'm referring to one, again, the DDS 1, the DDS 2, Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 super bosses are kind of what I think of. The optional end-all be-all encounters. For a more mainstream example, I guess Emerald and Ruby weapon from Final Fantasy VII, Omega weapon from Final Fantasy VIII. They push your party to its limit. They push the mechanics of the system to its limit, and sometimes you have to fight them a completely different way than you would fight any other boss, especially including the final boss a lot of times. But there have been instances where the super boss of a game is the final boss. Maybe it's a optional version of a final boss, or maybe it's an optional boss after the regular final boss of a game. I have played a few games that are that way. And that can be very interesting as well, because essentially if you opt into it, well, you're dealing with the encounter. Have fun,
Right, yeah. Enjoy. See you later.
Yeah. But yeah, to me, the post game, I hope it's obvious why, like I say, you're gonna want to play the post game of this game if you're playing episode 2, because there's just so much good stuff, and even like a quest you start early on, like the GS campaign, you can't complete it if you just do the main game. Now, you don't need to fight these last couple of bosses, Phobos Rigus, Baal Zebul, and Mikumari, to complete the GS campaign. Like, these are just optional extra stuff you can fight. And I generally recommend level up as much as you can. Do not, like, I don't think it's necessary to get your ES units to level 99. I've never done it. in this game, and it would take way too long, and I don't think you're going to get enough benefit out of it. You probably can trivialize Mikumari to a certain degree at level 99. So, I mean, go crazy, do it if you want to, but it's not necessary, in my opinion. But I don't like levels on mechs. I think it's kind of silly.
I think, well, I guess because there are pilot and co-pilot.
Yeah.
Having a separate leveling system kind of makes sense. But it would be better if it just was based off of who was piloting the mech, what the level of the mech was.
If you have to have a level, yeah.
Right.
I think having to level your mechs separately is kind of annoying. It's not difficult per se, but you can't Urtikaiser Fury everything in your mechs. So, it's like, come on, guys. It would be
That's
cool.
The real rub here. You just can't Urtikaiser stuff.
It would be cool if putting Shion into Zebulon allowed you to use Urtikaiser Fury. That would be nice.
It'd be cool if you could run around as Urtikaiser.
Yes, indeed. It would. It would be very nice.
That was like just a suit you could use once you get it,
Yeah, or if, for the Dark Urtikaiser encounter, if you could have used Urtikaiser Fury to fight, like it was a true mech, like super robot versus super robot encounter. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That's if I were building this game, that is what I would want. But I imagine with the amount of rush that happened on this game, even if that was desired by Takahashi or the team, we ended up getting this because like it would have required programming in so much extra stuff to do it. Because you'd basically have to be in a totally different mode to fight that way. Or maybe this was intended and it was like, no, you're going to fight on foot, have fun, and summon Urtikaiser Fury to get rid of Kaiser Shield. That's your mech versus mech.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think for Dark Urtikaiser alone, the post game is worth it. If you don't feel like dealing with the annoying super bosses, like they are completely optional. They're just at the end. They're just there as challenge for you to fight them. The only possible other benefit you could get from them is stealing to pay off Matthew's debt. That's about it. But if you did it from the Urgola fight, you're good to go there. So just go for it, kind of thing. But yeah, this is going to conclude Xenosaga Episode 2. I definitely have tried to cover a little bit of the lore of this game. It has been interesting because it doesn't really close out on a lot of things that Episode 1 started. And I think the overall disappointment with this game is probably one of the bigger sources of it. But we have been watching. We know that you guys enjoy the Xeno series, so Episode 3 will be popping up before too long, I am sure, here. And, I will be playing through that one for you guys. And yeah, I promise we will engage with the other material for Xenosaga. In particular, I would like to engage with Pied Piper in some way, even if that's just a discussion we have about it. So that we can get a little more color on characters like Yansauer / Ziggy. Why the hell did he see Voyager and get super angry? Well, we got a little bit of a cutscene, but what's the full story there? And there are a few other things that, I could begin talking about that won't make any sense until we get into Episode 3. Because there is a time gap between 2 and 3. Whereas there was no time gap between 1 and 2. They can be basically taken together, which the DS version is Episode 1 and 2 of this game. It's unfortunately, I don't think it was ever translated. It is Japanese only. But we'll talk about some of the differences between the DS version and Episode 1 and 2 after this is sunk in a little bit, and when we get into Episode 3, because that's when some of those differences are going to start mattering. But yeah, any other closing thoughts on Episode 2?
Well, so not on 2 specifically, because everybody's heard my complaints at this point and the extra questions I've had, and my frustration with not getting any answers. Like it's such a lost potential to like answer some questions along the way while still teasing the further truth with those same answers, right? Which is what something Xenogears was really good at. It's like, hey, here's a little bit. Okay, now here's a little bit more to give you understanding, but it's still not the full depth of what's going on.
Right.
And so it kind of helps you stay invested in that pace. And it could just be a pacing issue altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But my real thought is that I'm wondering if there really is that much extra information between 2 and 3 that needs to be digested, that maybe we should just have a separate, like, dedicated discussion for that, and then get into Xenosaga 3 when we're ready to do so.
I think that's a good idea. So yeah, I'm gonna say let's do that, and so look out for that. We'll have kind of a post episode 2 Xenosaga discussion video. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be doing. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a showcase of the double text. I'm not feeling getting into that just now, but
this would not be an immediate thing. This would be like, as we are approaching Xenosaga 3, might work as like a small recap of what we've dealt with, any questions that are lingering, and what's happened between 2 and 3 to kind of get us ready for 3.
Yes, but with regards to that, I definitely think it is a good idea. Now, the only other thing I did want to mention here is there is a fan project for Pied Piper translating some of it. It has only translated the first part of the first chapter of Pied Piper. So it is possible that we may cover the details there, possibly including that demo. It does look pretty good. I think it was an RPG Maker demo there. So we will, of course, give proper credit to the creator of that if we begin covering that. And I think maybe we'll just link to the description, link to that game in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Pied Piper is pretty important. Some of the material from Xenosaga Freaks is important. And, the DS version of episode 1 and 2. And I believe there are a couple of other things to cover. What is going to be challenging is episode 3 begins to introduce some things if all you've played is the trilogy. So we'll make a call on what to talk about and what to not, because there are some things in episode 3 that are going to open further discussions. So what we'll probably do in the episode 3 playthrough is just cover those things. Be like, okay, hey, remember this? There was also this going on. It's like, oh my god, okay. You know.
Yeah, it's clear that 3 is going to have a lot of, like, contextual caveats that are going to have to be added, because there's just so much going on.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll touch that when we get there. That's not a now problem. So
yeah, absolutely, we will. We will definitely be covering all of this material for you. I like the idea of a little bit of an interlude video for this series, especially since we know you are enjoying Xenosaga. And yeah, I think Xenoblade Chronicles as well. We have talked about getting into that. So maybe once we complete Xenosaga, we can get into Xenoblade 2 as well. That will be pretty cool. I know I'm a big fan of the Xeno series, and I have yet to get into Xenoblade, so it will be new to me, which will be exciting.
Yeah, it'll be good. But for now, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you here with us, and if you have been enjoying, please like, subscribe, all that. It's really helpful. Throw your own thoughts in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Super Bosses? What are your thoughts on maybe not what happens in between 2 and 3? That feels like that'd be a whole lot of different discussion, cause confusion. But your thoughts on the story so far, about this game, what you like, what you don't like, that kind of stuff. Let us know in the comments. We'd really love to hear from you. And beyond that, thank you so much for just letting us be a part of your day. And we do hope it is an awesome one. And we'll see you all in the next episode.
See you next time.
Bye-bye now. Diddly diddly do 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 do. Thanks for watching.